John, it's been a bit.
Yeah.
It's been a bit since you were here.
Stopped inviting me over.
That's you and I both know that that's not true.
Just saying.
But hey, welcome back to the Rage Select Podcast.
Hey.
And it's time for another Rage Select Podcast.
Oh my God.
It's right here on Rage Select. And I'm the founder of Rage Select. My name is Jeff. And my goal is to see how many times I can get the word Rage Select into one sentence. Rage Select, Rage Select.
Okay, well, I'm not the founder, but I am a person who works on Rage Select.
Yes.
John Sitton.
Yeah, there you go. How's it going, John?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good.
A lot of life changes since the last time we saw.
Oh yeah, you know, totally.
I heard that I feel like I was watching. I feel like it was in stereo. Like you and Matt Frank were watching Batman Ninja right around the same 24-hour time period.
Probably.
Because I think that you both posted. I got the Steelbook Fight Me.
No. He posted. I got the Steelbook Fight Me. I did not get the Steelbook.
Oh, okay.
I got the regular version. I made fun of him going, oh, Mr. Moneybags over here has his own comic book and can afford to buy the more expensive version.
Yeah.
Because that Steelbook version at Target was like $26.
Okay.
The DVD or the regular Blu-ray, $19.
Oh, okay.
I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not paying another $6 for a goddamn Steelbook.
I've never, ever in my life understood the idea of having a fancy case that your thing is in, whether it's a game or a Blu-ray or anything.
I don't mind a fancy case. I'm all for fancy cases. If I have a cheaper option that gives me the exact same content with nothing extra, I'm going to go for the cheaper option.
And what did you think?
It's good. It was good. I think I even told Matt, I was like, it literally, I am so burnt out on DC animated movies that feature Batman.
Yeah.
That it took something fucking balls to the wall crazy to get me even interested.
Yeah.
Because I went to Target and I bought this, and I also, because it was on sale, bought Justice League Dark.
Okay.
The animated movie.
Okay.
Which is based...
is that old? That came out
a while back.
Okay.
But it was like they had it discounted with the little Constantine action figure or whatever.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I'll buy it because it's like $12 and it's Blu-ray, and I wanted to watch it because I'm a big fan of the Justice League Dark comic book, and I like Constantine. I like the actor playing Constantine. Only to get really irritated that Batman is in that movie and serves no fucking purpose. He literally stands off to the side and just goes, the entire fucking movie.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't mind Batman. It's just that...
No, I'm fucking sick of Batman. I want Batman gone. The Joker needs to fucking kill the Batman already, because fuck him. Fuck Batman.
Now, is it fuck Batman or fuck Bruce Wayne Batman? I mean, would you be okay with Batman Beyond, where you get, old man Bruce Wayne is just sitting there just...
I love Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
I love that cartoon. I love the comics.
Yeah.
But no Batman at all. No Batman, period. Just give me a fucking... Give me goddamn animated movies for DC characters that have no fucking Batman in them.
I agree, because Batman's good, and I like Batman, but I feel like people see the DC universe, and that's all they see. And I mean, Matt and I were playing Injustice, and I was just in my head running down, there are 8 Flashes, right?
Yeah.
8 individual Flashes with different backstories and different personalities and different ways that they fight and stuff. There's 12 main Green Lanterns or something like that.
Oh, there's whole army of them.
Right.
One of them's a giant planet. They actually did have some anime movies on Green Lantern. I'll give them that.
Sure.
They had a couple of Wonder Woman animated movies.
Yeah.
I think it was only 1 or 2.
Yeah.
They've done a handful of Superman movies. They're fucking redoing the death of Superman, even though they fucked up the first attempt at it.
Why?
But they're redoing it.
Right.
And I'm 99% sure that Batman is just going to be off to the side in every fucking scene in that movie just going, if I was actually here doing something, maybe Superman wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck you and your Batman love, DC.
How about the Spectre and Dr. Fate movie, or
how about
the Creeper and Huntress have to team up to fight a
How about a Black Canary movie? How about a Green Lantern animated movie?
How
about a Flash movie where you're not adapting a fucking Flash story that turns into a goddamn Batman story?
Yep. Yeah, there's that as well. I'm in agreement with you, mostly because I love the DC universe. How about
this is someone who doesn't hate Batman?
Yeah.
I'm just fucking tired of Batman animated movies.
How about a Zariel Martian Manhunter story where the Angel and the Martian have to go on a quest?
Sure.
What if Amazo has to become a good guy and team up with fucking Blue Beetle Ted Kord Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
or
but it's just like
Blue Beetle, Booster Gold. Like there are other characters.
Blue
in
Beetle
this thing.
Jaime Reyes even fucking.
Sure.
I would fucking love a Blue Beetle Jaime Reyes animated movie.
They kind of did that in the Young Justice, I believe.
Well, he's in Young Justice. He was also in Batman Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
But he was almost got a live action TV series that DC decided to pass on because they're like, no, this character's not going to be big. And then they put him in Brave and the Bold, and it was everybody's favorite character from that fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
And DC went, well, more Batman.
So
clearly that was the thing that made Blue Beetle popular, is Batman.
Okay. Yeah, well, I agree. Hey, you know what? I've been in agreement for a while. I feel like we've been at Batman saturation. You know what? I feel like it started. No, it's been this way for a long time. Like I feel like since the Tim Burton movies.
No, here's the thing.
Got Batmania.
Since about 3 movies before they did Flashpoint, the Flashpoint Paradox. Mm-hmm. They've all had Batman as a major character. Every single fucking movie has had Batman as a major character.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah.
There's not like Harley Quinn and Batman. Oh, Batman. Suicide Squad. Batman's in it.
Right.
It's like,
Suicide Squad wasn't too bad about that, though. Batman was in there just a little bit. A little bit.
Batman's fucking in it.
Okay.
They could have done that fucking movie without Batman. Like literally, Batman is in movies he has no purpose being in.
Right.
Go back to Justice League Dark. You could have done that exact same storyline without Batman, and nothing would have changed.
You're really mad at Batman right now.
I'm just fucking tired of Batman animated movies. It's like, fuck, at least when Marvel was doing the direct-to-DVD animated movies, they actually did other fucking characters.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. It wasn't just Wolverine over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There were quite a few Wolverine and Iron Man animated movies, especially when they got to the anime version, the anime series movies or whatever. But for fuck's sake, at least they went for other characters.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. I mean, DC has this huge, wide range of characters that you can choose from. You've mentioned a bunch. I've mentioned a bunch. Mm-hmm. Fuck, they had an entire cartoon called Justice League Unlimited that featured pretty much most of those characters.
Yeah. Yeah. And for anybody who's watched Justice League Unlimited is like, oh man, I ship Huntress and the Question so hard. And I feel like anybody raised on current DC animation knows they know a lot about Batman. Do they even know who the fucking Question is? Do they even know?
Give me a fucking Question movie.
Is Huntress even
Give me
there?
A Supergirl movie.
Sure.
Like a Supergirl movie that is. There's one Supergirl movie, except it's not really a Supergirl movie. It's a Superman Batman movie that features Supergirl in it. Fucking give me.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. It was pretty good. It was okay, but
it's just like, give me anything other. I mean, I would be okay with another Wonder Woman movie. Give me an actual legit fucking Flash animated movie.
Yeah.
Just, god damn. I am so upset by that. But the original conversation, Batman Ninja, I liked it. It was anime as fuck.
The more I've thought about it, the more I've thought.
Excuse my coarse language here on Rage, like the classiest website on the internet.
No, that was I wouldn't curse in front of a child, but like other than that, the fucking website's goddamn Wild West. The more I've thought about it, the more I've thought that like it was interesting, but it was so much a spectacle movie that didn't have much actual like emotional impact for me because it was just like the whole Batman Ninja is based on like what? No, come on. Oh, what? Like it's more just like no, they're not going to do that. Yep, that's what they're doing. Okay, all right.
Well, I just like because I actually watched all the behind the scenes stuff, and I like the mentality of the people involved in the creation of it.
Yeah,
because they DC went to them and said, "Hey, we'd like you to make an animated movie. You get to do whatever you want. You get carte blanche. Do whatever you want." And I think the writer of it was the guy who did Gurren Lagann, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And the guy who did all the character designs is the guy who did Afro Samurai.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the action was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, so the writer's like, I got told to do whatever I want. Well, I want to stay true to Batman, so I decided instead of us doing a Japanese Batman story, like us doing like recreating the character to fit into Japanese our country.
Yeah.
Why don't we do a story where like what are the pinnacles of anime? Like what are the best animes out there? Well, they're all period pieces.
Yeah.
Mind you, that's debatable, but he's like they're all period pieces. So let's send Batman to, to historic Japan, feudal Japan. Let's send him a man at a time. Let's do that. It's like that'd be kind of cool. Okay, well, what else is part of it? Well, crazy, tech and weird like stuff, weird like mecha and stuff like that, and then giant fucking robots. Yeah, let's just fucking do it. Let's throw in giant fucking robots.
Does it make any sense? No. Who the fuck cares? Yeah. But well, that's cool. Let's go from bats to fishes, John. I this weekend I did a thing I ain't never done before. I went to the Austin Aquarium. And it was pretty fun. It's a little raggedy, a little rundown, but I got to tell you that it was pretty cool. You can there's a bunch of different you can feed a bunch of different fish in there, and there was one tank that was full of manta rays, and you could feed them, and they were like little sea dogs. They were awesome. They would all just kind of gather around, and they get all like excited and splash you with their little ocean wings and whatever. You guys can't see the utter.
No. There's nothing. I'm just listening. I'm just like, what? Go on.
No, it was great. It was great. They had
changed your life forever.
No, not really.
You're gonna become like Steve Zissou and
Steve Zissou? No, yeah. No, not really.
Jacques Cousteau?
No, I'm not.
You're gonna go get on a ship?
I'm not gonna quit Rage Select and then go under the sea.
Live in a pineapple under the sea?
Nope, I'm not doing any of that. But it was fun. It was really fun. Yeah, you got to do stuff when you're dating people because you can't just sit around. But yeah, we went to the aquarium and I went to a Shel Silverstein tribute play of his like adult works.
Fish, shell.
Yeah, see,
I see what you did there. Nice little connection.
Yep. It was pretty fun too. Although it was in an air-conditioned warehouse, and we are starting to hit the summertime in Austin. And it was at night, and it wasn't too bad last weekend, but I fucking hate sweating so much. So, but yeah, I gotta say, if people come into town and you want to just pet a manta ray, you could do it. You could do it. The octopus was like there was a lot of the things that I wanted to see that were like hiding when we went there.
Yeah.
So there was an octopus that was all just like shoved up on one side of the tank that he was in, not really doing anything. There was one that had a cuttlefish. I fucking love cuttlefish. I think they're awesome.
You want to cuddle that fish?
I do, man. Those motherfuckers, they're crazy. They have a rainbow shrimp.
Yeah.
That they were a little bit like kind of back, not really doing a whole lot, but they're pretty cool. There's a lot of fun stuff to see. It was like $15 to go in there and walk around for a couple hours, look at some fish.
That's cool.
And then I also watched that movie, The Lure. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's like in the 1980s, like a Ukrainian like cabaret nightclub finds these two mermaid girls, and then they start having like a rock and roll act with the two mermaid girls who sing. They like lure sailors because they're good singers, and then there's like a weird love. It was very strange. It was very
sounds
odd.
Like it.
It was. I remember seeing the trailer a while back because it's an 80s rock and roll mermaid horror movie, and I was like from like Ukraine, and I was like, okay, sure, lay it on me. And I watched it, and it was weird, and I don't know that I would actually recommend it, but it was at least
entertaining,
somewhat entertaining. Yeah, I think. Okay, so it says it came out in 2015. Okay, it's Polish horror movie. I said Ukrainian and like Romanian. It's Polish. But yeah, I remember seeing a trailer for it a few years ago, but you can like rent it on Amazon. So
okay.
Other than that, I didn't do a whole lot this week. I keep meaning to get out to see.
Want to go out to the sea, huh?
Deadpool, or
that doesn't come out until this weekend.
Oh, okay. I got really confused because it was like Solo and Deadpool. You know what's weird? I was looking.
Solo comes the week after Deadpool.
Okay, so
Deadpool is
as of this recording tomorrow is Deadpool.
And then the next week is Solo.
Okay. You know what was weird? Infinity War, Solo, Deadpool 2 all have a 68 on Metacritic.
Yeah,
which I find really strange. But like the lowest score for Infinity War, the caption for it on Metacritic is something like, even by the standards of Marvel's mediocre garbage movies, Infinity War falls flat on its face. It's like, oh, okay, well, obviously you, reviewer, and me, Jeff, have a difference of opinion about what is a good thing worth going to the movies to see and what is garbage.
I'd say don't even bother. Just go see what you want to go see.
Yeah.
Watch a trailer. If it looks interesting, go watch it.
Yep. I don't know. I think that
Trailers can be deceiving, yes, but still.
I think that those scores represent also blockbuster fatigue, some blockbuster fatigue that we're seeing for a few of these different things. Anyway, speaking of blockbuster fatigue and people get tired of big franchises doing brand new things, today we got all the announcements for Call of Duty Black Ops 4. And boy, is it strange. Well, I feel like we already kind of knew. There were already rumors that there was no single-player campaign.
Yeah.
There's no single-player campaign.
Yeah.
Not just is there no single-player campaign, but that's like the first of a lot of changes here.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's run down them real fast so we can talk about what we feel like. So it appears that the regular multiplayer mode is now going to be a hero shooter like Overwatch, ish, like the Call of Duty version of Overwatch, where like the characters, like in the trailer, you can see that the characters have like a health bar. So it's not going to be just regenerating health, and then every character has a special power, kind of like Black Ops 3 had. Yeah. What was last year's? Is it? World War II.
World War II.
World War II was last year. And there was some report that you're going to have like a healer characters, a la Mercy, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're abandoning the kind of straight up Call of Duty multiplayer for something more akin to Overwatch. Then you have Blackout, which we had already talked about, which is the Battle Royale mode coming to Black Ops.
More like Black Ops Fortnite.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Anyways.
But this looks like it's, from the trailer, it looks a lot different than your normal Battle Royale because like you're still using the same hero character. So it seems like they're still going to have the same powers that they have, which is very different from PUBG or Fortnite, where everybody's the same, right? And it's just what you pick up and your skill level. Also, you would assume that people would probably start with a gun, right? For whatever their class loadout is. If you're not, I feel like it's either going to be you either got full kit or you've got nothing, right? But then in addition to this, there's also not just cars, but boats and helicopters and shit as well.
Wingsuits and
a lot more mobility options. I mean,
apparently it's the biggest map they've ever created in a game ever, at least that they have ever created in a Call of Duty game.
Yeah,
and it's a hodgepodge of different maps and elements from every Call of Duty game that's ever been made.
Yeah, seems weird. I don't know that I'm as. A lot of times when Call of Duty, they'll have an announcement that's like, we're bringing back this map. And I'm just like, oh, that's cool. I never played Call of Duty enough to know what that map really is. But they do have pretty good map design. I mean, not being familiar with the maps, whenever I go to play Call of Duty multiplayer, it's pretty easy to figure out where the kind of lanes and back roads and stuff are. So there's that. And then we've got what seems to be probably a bigger zombies mode, because there was one trailer called Voyage of the Damned. Is that what it was?
I think that's right.
Voyage of Despair. I know it wasn't the Damned, where it's like hero characters on a 1940s ship trying to get an artifact, and then like this guy makes the artifact turn everybody into zombies, and then it's shooting zombies, right? That's pretty normal. That's like what I would expect. But then there was a second trailer that was just called X or 9, where it was like those same characters sitting around, and there's a lady talking, and they're all inhaling this vapor, and their eyes turn black, and then when they turn back, they're like in the past, and it kind of like a gladiator arena, and there's like a priest that uses the same thing from the Voyage of Despair trailer to make a bunch of zombies in an arena, and then the characters, instead of having guns, all have swords and shields and knives and axes and things like that. And so there's that. And then there was another trailer called Zombies Blood of the Dead, which has very little, does not seem to have the same 4 characters, but it's got like candles and then what looks like a prison and like 4 people dressed in kind of maybe like vaguely 50s-esque clothing, maybe earlier. And that's it. So
and you don't see their faces, you don't see what they're fighting, it's literally just it pans up, you see their backs you see them with their backs turned to you, and then that's the end of the trailer.
That's pretty much it. So a few other things. We know that multiplayer is going to be handled on the PC via Battle.net. John, you were telling me that there's actually crossover, at least Blizzard people helping them get this on
Battle.net. They help them work with streamlining it for Battle.net. Rumors that they may have had a little bit more hands-on than just that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying, it's once you see the gameplay, you're not surprised to hear that that some Overwatch developers helped out with this.
Mm-hmm. And was there another game just recently, another EA game that was also on, or wait, Activision game that was also used Battle.net, a non-Blizzard Activision game that used?
I don't remember.
Battle.net?
Probably.
There was something else recently. Anyway, and then I read some stuff saying that while there isn't a story mode, that the individual characters might have like vignettes to kind of get you acclimatized to them, like short missions to introduce them.
Well, it's like the thing I read said that while there is no story campaign mode, there are story elements interwoven into each game mode that you play.
Yeah, that was part of the announcement. So, okay, so that's all the information. Let's rewind. This is weird because it's both, I feel like, a bold direction and a cowardly a bold new direction that is also a cowardly ripoff of everything that's popular right now. Is that like, okay, so your multiplayer mode needs a shot in the arm, make it Overwatch. Your other multiplayer, your single player modes aren't doing as well as they used to. Scrap that and put in Battle Royale. The kids fucking love Battle Royale.
And your zombie modes have always been good, so just do that.
Beef it up, make it even more. Put in a melee zombie mode, make it a bigger zombie mode than it used to be. Even so, in some ways, it's strange because the name Black Ops had a story like the subtitles for the Call of Duties in the past have had a story connotation, where there was Infinite Warfare, World War II, Black Ops 3.
Yeah, why is this called Black Ops?
Yeah, this seems to have I'd almost rather them just say this one's called Call of Duty.
Yeah, why not call it just Call of Duty or call it like Call of Duty World or something?
Yeah. Or
Call of Duty
something
Universe.
Generic. Because even the branding for it is very the orange and but in the multiplayer mode, it seems like they're doing the kind of near future tech of Black Ops 3-ish, because I think that Black Ops 3...
Well, I know they got rid of the wall running that was in Infinite Warfare and in Black Ops 3 as well.
Right.
Like the wall running and stuff. Like they got rid of that. Like that's gone.
Yeah. It's mostly just looking at the weird tech stuff. You know what? It's actually probably closer to Black Ops 2 than it is Black Ops 3, because Black Ops 3 basically was magic, right?
Yeah.
When they started doing the nanotech stuff.
Yeah.
Black Ops 2 was more kind of like near future warfare. Yeah. Which seems closer to what we're seeing here. We didn't actually mention it, but there was a full-on trailer, not the multiplayer reveal, but it was a live action. It's called Power in Numbers cinematic trailer that really seemed to indicate some kind of story, like you're just a number in the machine, and like together we can fucking take it all down. But like, take what down, and what are you doing, and why,
and who is doing this against you?
Yeah, it's almost like if you were going to go Overwatch, do any of us? None of us, or I'm sure that some people on the internet have at some point. But like, I don't ever question why are the two Overwatch teams fighting each other over the payload. I don't fucking know.
I mean, my look at it like this is that Overwatch has enough personality and charm that not having a story in the game doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I know it sucks because I say that and then look at Destiny, but I feel like Destiny didn't have that charm and personality to it, which made there not being story in that game actually an issue. And this kind of just looks like generic Call of Duty.
Well, it's interesting because the characters don't. I think this is the thing that Call of Duty has had a lot, is that. So there's a thing, everybody I feel like knows this, but I'll just explain it. The silhouettes, right, where Team Fortress 2 started it, where it was, you can tell what a heavy, just by the shape of them, right?
Yeah.
And then Overwatch is the same. Like, you can tell Reinhardt from Junkrat from a distance, just from the general shape of the model.
Yeah.
You could tell a Tracer from a Widowmaker, even though they're similar, just by the way they move and by kind of what they look like. Everybody in this trailer they're just a dude or a lady with a bunch of techno crap hanging off of them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I interrupt you? What were you saying?
No.
Okay.
You're kind of saying the same thing that I was saying. It doesn't have that personality. It doesn't seem like it had. Like, it actually looks like it kind of suffers the same problem that LawBreakers had.
Yeah, where everybody just kind of looks similar. Or in some cases, Rainbow Six Siege, the way that everybody in Rainbow Six Siege looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
No, we're going to get to that eventually.
Oh no, I wasn't waiting on anything.
But see here at the end, there's a scene, there's a shot of all these different characters kind of running towards the camera. My God, do they all look very similar? Like, they don't look exactly the same, but they're all kind of just kitted out in a variety of different things. When you look at the multiplayer trailer, and they have that same multiplayer trailer where it's one person playing the game for just a huge amount of time, like, I can't tell these different characters apart. Like, they all look very, very, very similar.
You mentioned that this trailer, like, all the characters are hero characters.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until you said something. Mind you, I don't really play the Call of Duty games, so I wouldn't have known that. I probably wouldn't have known that because I don't know any of those characters.
Right.
But there's nothing in here that tells me that these aren't the generic created Call of Duty players that players make in Call of Duty multiplayer normally.
And then, and I think that the whole hero shooter thing, I think I'm just extrapolating, but there seems to be a lot of indication that that's what we're looking at here. But even it actually brings up a really interesting point of, like, when you're playing Overwatch, when you watch this multiplayer thing, it reminds you that, like, man, in Overwatch, the colors of the characters' weapons, their vocal cues when they're shooting or doing a thing, the way that they look, their animation when they're running, all sets every one of those characters apart so that you instantly know the difference between a McCree and a Soldier 76, even though they're both guys, right? Like, and nothing here is showing me the difference between these characters. All look, for the most part, identical. Now, maybe if you're a Call of Duty fan, they look really different and you're able to tell the difference, but it's worth noting, because if they're changing this up to attempt to bring in people who don't already play Call of Duty, then you need to do it. You need to, like, I would almost say that if you're going to do what Overwatch did, then the next thing you need to do is start making some short films to differentiate these characters and get people attached to them, because that's why we love fucking Overwatch, is because May is a different person from Mercy, right? Junkrat is a different character from Doomfist, and some people like Junkrat because of his personality, his character design, the way he looks, the way he plays, etc., more than Doomfist. And all of these guys just seem like interchangeable cogs.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. As someone who's never really been huge into Call of Duty games, and again, I've said this a lot on this podcast, I feel. This does nothing for me. Actually, the most interesting thing that did anything for me was the zombie mode stuff.
Which is interesting because, to go back, great segue, John. To go back to what we were just talking about, there are characters with personality in this Voyage of Despair trailer. Like, there's an old guy who's kind of like a tech dude. There's a big Russian brawler. There's like a smooth talking, like, kind of European guy. There's this girl, the kind of archaeologist, Rachel Weisz from The Mummy kind of thing.
And it insinuates that her father, like, she's following in her father's footsteps, and that she's kind of brought them all together to do this thing.
And so that has a lot more draw for me because, again, the reason that I, for example, stopped playing Fortnite was because simply winning in a multiplayer match, and it matters to some people, it just doesn't matter to me. The genius to me, again, not to just compare every single thing in the entire world to Overwatch. I could go back to talking about Dark Souls if everybody would like, but to compare this to Overwatch is that Overwatch was fun even when you weren't winning because of the team composition and the makeup and the way that things worked. Because I kind of cared and I liked playing and it felt fun. This seems like it could be the same thing, except that, I don't know, the zombies mode in Call of Duty has always been very strange to me. Like, it's never really hooked me the same way as another game. As say maybe like, what's that rebellion game that we've been looking at. That strange. It's like a Egyptian. It's like 4 characters that are going into a like tomb. It's like Curse of Osiris or something like that. Where
I have no idea what you're talking about.
no, okay, great, okay, fine. It's that's more interesting to me because the characters seem like they have a little bit more depth to them. But this whole cinematic seems pretty cool, as does the one where they're going back in time and it's kind of melee craziness. The X trailer. So I don't know. I guess it'll be interesting to see whether this represents a shot in the arm for Call of Duty or not. I'd be really interested to know of the people. What I really would like to know, because I don't think we have any super big Call of Duty fans amongst the Rage Select folks. I feel like Amanda would probably be the closest person, but I feel like she fell off Call of Duty a while back.
Yeah, a long time ago. I think she fell off after Modern Warfare 2.
Okay. So what I'd actually be interested in is if there are people in the comments who are really big fans of Call of Duty, what does this do for you? Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of people who are going to there's going to be a bit of a backlash against this because it's literally taking away the parts of Call of Duty that the hardcore crowd are into and replacing them with other
Overwatch
games.
and Battle Royale.
Yeah, Overwatch and Fortnite. Like, those people could already be playing Fortnite and Overwatch, so I guess it remains to be seen.
I mean, I also look at it like this.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 4 Call of Duty, maybe 5 Call of Duty games, have all reported record number drops. Like, they still do really, really good.
Yeah.
But they don't do as good as they did the previous year. And if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, I think they've dropped like a third to almost a half in sales each year. So clearly they need to do something.
See, I think that Call of Duty World War II doubled Black Ops 3's sales figures. Or whatever it was before that.
Okay, so that was the first one that went up instead of down.
Yeah, well, I feel like so the if I'm okay, let me just make sure because
I could be my numbers could be entirely off because I'm pulling this all up out of memory and also speculating a little bit on my side. So.
If I remember correctly, there's been a dip. Okay, so what we're looking at is. Let's see. Now, can I just get these in fucking chronological order, you wangs?
No.
Apparently not. Primary developer location, other games, console titles. Okay, wait, here we go. By year. Okay, so Black Ops 4, World War II. Infinite Warfare, I feel like, was a dip down. And Black Ops 3... See, I think that Ghosts was... Modern Warfare 3... Black Ops 2, I feel like was an up. Ghost was down. Advanced Warfare, I think was I don't know. To be honest, I'm trying to go through and remember.
I want to say that there was not all of them were like heavy dips, but I think that there was like
slight
a dips in the and clearly something needed to change.
Yeah,
it's very clear something needed to change.
So we'll have to see.
So is this the change that it needed to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is also speaking from someone who is not a huge Call of Duty person. So what do I know?
Okay, let's see. All time unit sales of selected games in the Call of Duty franchise as of 2018. So this is from Statista.com. Looks like Modern Warfare 3 was the biggest one, and then Black Ops 2 was down from there. Ghosts was down from there. Yep. And then what? Advanced Warfare was down from there, and then Black Ops. Let's see. Wait a minute. So from Advanced Warfare in 2014 to Black Ops 3 went up by a fair amount, and then that was 2015, 2016 was Infinite Warfare Infinite Warfare was a big hit for them. That was like half the sales, and then World War II. Okay, I don't know if this has actually been. I don't know if this has actually been finished because there were totally things about it. But I don't know. You're right, though, that Call of Duty does need some new...
Yeah. Now, does that... And here's the other thing I will say about that. The story, people that might be complaining about, there's no story mode in Call of Duty, what the fuck?
Yeah.
most people didn't play the story campaign. I did. That was literally the only thing I ever played when I got my hands on a Call of Duty game, because I don't give a shit about multiplayer.
Right.
But most people that I talk to, like, it's like, oh, it's like Modern Warfare 2. Did you play the story mode? No. Why would I play that? Because it was really good. Oh, well, whatever.
I bet they have stats internally about, how many people finished.
Yeah.
Or if not, that they could go reaping through people's achievement scores. Right.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm just saying that there are so many people that I've heard of that have, like, there were some people that didn't even know there was a campaign mode in certain, like, aspects of the game, like certain versions of the game, like that they were like, there's a campaign mode in that. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, oh, I just play the multiplayer. I don't play the campaign because why bother?
Yeah.
Like there, and hey, if that's what you do, that's fine. Well, guess what? If you're now upset with this, that's your fault, because your campaign mode doesn't matter.
Sure.
Because now they went, well, people don't really seem to care about it. All they care about is the multiplayer, so that's all we'll give them.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you what, if you do care about single-player campaigns and you're not just about the multiplayer, then maybe Rage 2 is the game for you. Out
of fucking nowhere.
Well, out of, like, completely leaked and by Walmart, totally, shit. So we actually got the full-on Rage 2 announced trailer. I like the fact that they had an announcement trailer that was kind of a weird live action,
and then like the very next day it was the gameplay trailer.
Yep. And then it was just like one day later, here's gameplay. So the live action has a lot of like pink smoke and pink
it made people think that they were trying to rip off Borderlands.
I could see it, except for the fact that Rage actually kind of has that aesthetic to it, except for not necessarily the pink smoke, but kind of just it was a post-apocalyptic wasteland game.
Yeah. No, it totally had a Mad Max vibe to it.
Yeah. Which,
speaking of,
makes sense because it's being developed. I'm so
Rage
torn.
2 is being developed by Avalanche Studios.
Yes, I'm real torn about this, John. Is Rage 2 is being developed by Avalanche Studios, who made Mad Max and Just Cause 3, two games that I wanted to love but couldn't get into. Now I know that you really liked Mad Max.
Yes.
So did Jason. I was talking with him the other day where he downloaded on the PS Plus Gold.
Yeah.
That he really enjoyed it.
It's surprisingly better than I think. I think it does hit some points where it starts to kind of become worse for wear, like it starts to wear its welcome.
Yeah.
But it's surprisingly good. But as far as this goes, I don't know, it looks fun. It looks like Doom in Mad Max world.
Yeah, so there was actual gameplay trailer for this, and it basically showed a lot of kind of like crazy mutants and driving and a post-apocalyptic world, which is all what Rage was.
Yeah.
Like, Rage was almost, if you think about Rage as an engine game, the way that it used to make it, it's almost like it wanted to make a game engine that could support big areas, driving, and that Rage was kind of a game made to show all that off, even if it wasn't really a super good game.
Well, actually, everybody I know who played that game, I never got to play it, so I don't know anything about it. But everything I heard about it was the controls were great.
Yeah.
The game was good. The ending sucked fucking balls.
I thought it was okay.
Everyone I know says the ending is complete fucking garbage and ruins the game.
I don't even remember the
It literally, it's you're kind of gearing up for like a big boss, and there is no boss.
Oh.
Like, literally, it's like, oh, there's this big thing. Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Credits.
I don't know. This looks... Okay, so here's where I'm coming from. Bethesda, or ZeniMax, id Software, etc., has so far been... Wolfenstein, I was like, Wolfenstein. Loved Wolfenstein. Doom, I was like, Doom. Fucking love Doom. Wolfenstein 2, I was like, you guys got my attention. I liked Wolfenstein 2 quite a bit. I don't think it was quite as good as the first one, but I think it was still very good. So here's the thing. Quake was never going to be for me. Quake was for people that liked Quake, and I don't know whether it succeeded one way or the other. But
Isn't
after
it like
playing
an online only thing?
It was a multiplayer. It was
free to play?
It was for the Quake 3 crowd. It was made to be a super fast online. I don't know if anybody's even playing it, but
probably
just like 3 million people playing For Honor, so it wouldn't surprise me. So far, Bethesda, ZeniMax, id, whatever, has a free pass. This one, though, makes me a little worried because apparently, like, it's going to be like there's going to be a huge amount of vehicle integration, which it depends. I mean, like, here's the thing that
Didn't
could work.
The other one have a huge amount of vehicle integration?
It did. I don't know whether that. I don't know that's never been a thing that's been like the most interesting thing to me. But you know what? Like I said, they ain't done me wrong, so I'm not going to be.
And I'll say this: the driving in Mad Max was good.
Yeah.
So we know that Avalanche Studios can do a driving game.
And you know what? Like, so the way that I look at it is, if you know the way that Doom. It's funny, the guys I listen to that used to do the Dark Souls podcast, they just did Doom 2016 last week.
Yeah.
So I just got done listening to a podcast of people saying how much they liked Doom 2016. I fucking love Doom 2016. If they could do for cars what Doom 2016 did for like gunplay, where you're coming at it from a new perspective, you're making it so that it's just fun. No matter what else, it's just like super fun every time you get in a car. Great. One of the problems that Rage had was that there was a lot of times where you're just trying to go from point A to point B that was not super fun.
Yeah.
This trailer, though, the gameplay trailer looks like fucking crazy, you know? Kind of looks like weird Borderlands mixed with Doom. Apparently, though, it is going to be online, and they are looking to kind of do like games as service model where you play with your friends.
No loot boxes, though.
But no loot boxes. But I get a little concerned nowadays whenever I hear
games as service,
where it's like, well, we're going to want you to play Rage 2 for 1,000,000 years. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that. But again, they ain't done me wrong so far.
I'm willing to give it a try.
And this looks like a crazy future world.
And maybe we'll get more stuff at E3.
Yeah, almost certainly. Bethesda and ZeniMax have never been shy about showing you their game.
I got a theory here.
Okay.
These trailers, the live action and the footage trailer, I have a feeling these were always intended to come out before E3.
Yeah.
However, they weren't supposed to come out right now.
Yeah.
I feel like they were supposed to come out the week before E3, and then that was going to be their big talking point, but then that leak happened. And the leak happened, and they said, well, we can ignore it like everybody else, or we can just say fuck it and get a lot of press.
Yeah.
And they said fuck it.
It'd be nice if they had if they did like a gameplay demo at a stage show.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure that's what'll probably be.
What do you think? Microsoft? I could see them doing it in. Did they do Fallout? Oh no, wait, no, fucking, they got their own show, Jeff.
Yeah, they got their own show, dude.
Yeah, Bethesda's their own fucking stage show nowadays.
Yeah,
so.
It's if I remember correctly, it's also this year's E3 press conference schedule is fucking weird.
I haven't even looked at it.
There's a show on Saturday. Microsoft, Bethesda, and one other company are on Sunday.
What?
Sony's on Sony, and like one other company is on Monday, and then Nintendo's the only thing on Tuesday. Like everything shifted.
Okay.
Like it used to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday was the first day of E3.
No.
Or Wednesday was the first day of E3, but something like that.
It was Monday, Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday, like at 11, was when the doors opened for real.
Well, those were actually, I mean, yes, but then they also changed it to where the Tuesday was only for a certain group of people, and then it was open to everybody else.
Oh, yeah, when they started allowing the general public in. Yeah.
But it was just like, it did, like, the first day was, but now they've moved everything, so, like, people have moved, trying to get ahead of everybody.
Yep.
So it's like now it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Nintendo on Tuesday, and then...
Which, to me, is stupid because I don't care whether you're first. I care whether it's good. You know, if you show me shit games on day one, I'm not going to give a shit about those games, etc. Anyway, all right, so we've had a lot of interesting stuff. But as John talked about earlier, we did see one, I don't know, maybe your heart will be broken, maybe it won't, but fucking LawBreakers Studio, Boss Key Productions, is closed.
It's done.
Apparently... LawBreakers just didn't hook hard enough. Like what Cliff Bleszinski put out a tweet where he basically said, 4 years ago, I set out to make a world-class video game studio, and I hired some of the best talent in the video games industry. They worked tirelessly to produce quality products, and while we had our ups and downs, I like to think we had fun doing it. LawBreakers was a great game that unfortunately failed to gain traction, and in a last-ditch attempt, we scrambled to do our take on a huge battle royale genre with Radical Heights, which was well-received. However, it was too little too late. So they're closing down. Cliff B's going to go spend some time with his family. Says he still likes video games, and He's going to maybe be back. Who knows?
Yeah. Did you see his Twitter?
Yes, I did.
I'm assuming that's what we're going to talk about next, right?
Yes. So after
Holy
that,
fucking shit, Bliff, or,
Cliff
Cliff.
Bleszinski. Okay, so LawBreakers, kind of a hardcore Overwatch clone.
Yeah.
Radical Heights, battle royale game. When there's the most successful one we've ever seen in the history of mankind, is currently free to play. Then Cliff Bleszinski gets on Twitter to share some stuff that Boss Key Productions wanted to do that all seems like a way better idea than what they fucking ended up doing.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like those would have been more harder to do, like more work, and they went for the things that would be that are in their wheelhouse already that they already know how to make.
Maybe
quickly.
But LawBreakers fell flat on its face in like a month. So
it really did.
If you did something weird, especially, okay, so let's go through these. One of these is called Dragonflies, and Cliff says basically you were a ninja / samurai in airships riding dragons, fighting zombies with friends in a PvE feudal punk setting on floating islands. The airships equals your aircraft carriers, the dragons equals your planes. And he said he wanted to do for flying what Halo 2 did for driving around like with a buggy and multiplayer. That sounds great. That sounds fucking fantastic. Like,
yes, I agree.
That sounds like something that I would have been way more interested in playing than LawBreakers or Radical Heights.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's actually the second one is the one that I find really interesting. That was called codenamed Rover. Cliff says, here's another one initially planned for VR, codenamed Rover, but was shaping up to be, quote, dog walkers. Dogs stand for destructive ordnance on the ground. Inspired by World War II tank crews battles / the movie Fury, 5v5v5v5v5 Zoid-looking walkers looking to fight it out in multiplayer. So in VR, you're doing tank stuff in a giant walker and your groups of 5 all fighting each other. That sounds amazing. That sounds so cool. I would have loved to have played that game.
Star Trek Bridge Crew take it to another level.
Yeah, like Bridge Crew or Rec Room or any of those things, like, but with big that sounds great. I wish they would have done that. That sounds fucking beautiful. And then the last one is basically a spiritual successor to Tubin. So it says, here's a silly / fun one, basically a VR spiritual successor to Tubin. One, only everyone are animals, and a way to fight seasonal affection disorder. Mario Kart on water with animals in VR called Donuts. Again, every one of these seems like a better idea than chasing a trend.
Yeah.
Like all of these seem like original thoughts that were dynamite. Which one of these was your favorite, John?
Probably the first one.
Yeah. I don't know. It all seems.
I mean, Donuts does look fun though.
Yeah. It all just seems like more fun. Like, I don't know. One of the things about LawBreakers that was always kind of disappointing was that it seemed like they were trying to.
Well, the thing about LawBreakers was that the voiceover in the commercials from Ice-T was way more interesting than the actual game that came out of it.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, I really wish they would have done one of these because all of these look way more interesting, and I feel like they would have stood out more than LawBreakers did, especially because they did that. It's like, you remember back when companies would be like, we're gonna take World of Warcraft down with our brand new MMO. We're putting our MMO out on the day that Blizzard launches the new expansion for theirs, and we're just gonna fucking suck away all their customers. And instead, you just went head to head with fucking Muhammad Ali and got knocked the fuck down. And I feel like that kind of happened to LawBreakers.
Oh no! What's even funnier about that stuff?
Yeah.
Is I forget the name of the MMO that did it, but there was one company that was like, "This ain't Azeroth," kind of like actually used like, to slander the game. They had to actually license that from Blizzard to be able to say it in their trailer. So they paid Blizzard money to slander Blizzard, and Blizzard still whooped their ass.
Yeah, I think that, you know what?
I think it was like Risen 2. No,
I think that Black Ops 4. Maybe the only thing that could be a hero shooter to challenge something like Overwatch, because Call of Duty has a huge fan base, right? So maybe, but like, you ain't just going to be like, hey, man, it's like Overwatch, except it's gritty and you can shoot behind you at all times, which, I don't know, is kind of cool. I kind of wish that there had been like you know what I wish that
I still feel like the biggest failure is not having Ice-T being an announcer throughout the entire game.
That was a pretty big letdown. But you know what would have been really cool is if you know how they had that button to let you shoot behind your head?
Yeah.
If there had been like a light somewhere, maybe like on your gun that would light up whenever somebody was behind you, but like it was imperfect. Like it would only light up when the person was like right behind you in a place where they would get shot if you hit that button.
Yeah.
But like if they were moving back and forth, the light would like go on and off just to give you some indication, because otherwise it was like,
why would you do it?
well, like, yeah, I don't have a feeling that there's somebody behind me. I'm like, there could be somebody behind me, but am I going to just waste ammo shooting behind me? No, not really.
Yeah.
And then the gravity stuff in LawBreakers never worked. I mean, LawBreakers had problems outside of just trying to go head to head with Overwatch. But anyway, could be. I hope that you come back someday. I think you're a good developer. I think that LawBreakers had potential, and I think that Radical Heights had potential. I just don't think that you guys need to focus on stuff like this. Original.
It really felt like with Radical Heights, no offense, it really felt like you were maybe grasping for straws.
Yeah.
Like you were grasping for like, it was like, well, let's do this one. Instead of going, let's make something that's not already out there. Let's make this original thing and hedge all our bets on this. You went, let's try to do the cash grab. That's the big popular thing right now. And
well, from the time between Radical Heights and this, I have a feeling that Radical Heights was a last ditch, because I get the feeling that they were about to close up shop, and it was like they didn't have time to announce one of these and then make it, that they needed to release something where they could get a huge cash infusion right now, because Battle Royale is the hottest fucking thing out there, and that would give them enough to finish that game as a money maker to then go back and make stuff like this.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But,
and there were things I liked about Radical Heights. Like there were ideas that were a part of it that I actually thought were interesting. It's just, it wasn't done.
It was too not done.
Yeah.
It was too unfinished to even put out.
Yeah.
Speaking of, okay, so that's a sad story. I don't have a segue. Let's talk about a happy story, but it might also make you a little crying in your face. It made me cry. What's that?
It's like, God damn it, Jeff.
Yeah. So this is an interesting thing. Did you see this?
Yes, I did.
Microsoft has put out an
is going to put out.
Yeah, is putting out. They did a reveal, an accessibility-minded Xbox controller. Now, for people who don't know, the actual term accessibility in the industry means basically having things for people that have disabilities or to be able to use your product. Like
there's some, like one of the guys in like one of the videos only literally on his left hand only has two fingers, has his thumb and his pinky finger.
Right.
Like he doesn't have any other fingers.
Yes.
So it's hard for him to play video games, even though he loves playing video games, because he can't really hold the controller well.
Right. He talked about how in the old days when it was like an NES pad, it wasn't that hard to use one finger to hit the two buttons, but that as controllers got more complicated, he's unable to basically have that whole right side.
Yeah.
Well, this is a really, really interesting little thing where it's basically it looks kind of like a
DJ turntable.
Yeah, it looks like a drum pad almost from like one of the rhythm games out there. And what it is it's a controller interface that goes into the Xbox, and the two giant pads on it are buttons that you can program. But then it also has a bunch of ports on it. It's got on the right hand side, it's got a
USB port.
Yeah, it's got a USB port on the right side and a USB port on the left side, and those two ports can be used for left stick or right stick inputs. And then on the back, it's got 3.5 millimeter jacks that you can basically plug in just about anything that can serve as a replacement for a button or for any one of the other buttons that are on there. So you can basically create a setup so that if you want to use foot pedals, you can use foot pedals. If you want to have things, there's one guy that had a button by his head so that he could move his head to hit one of the buttons. And in this way, you can pretty much fully program this input so that so that anybody can play a game.
Yeah.
And they put out a video with it, and it made me weep.
They put out two videos actually, but yeah,
a child, because it was just a bunch of people who were having trouble playing video games, and then they came out with this thing, and these people could suddenly play video games. And I love video games so much, I want everybody to be able to play.
And just seeing the joy of them, like kind of like looking at it and kind of like okay, and then them playing the game, and then suddenly their face is like brightening up.
Yep.
Like you can tell, like, oh my god, I'm having fun. I'm actually able to play a video game that I want to play, kind of thing. That's actually pretty cool. It's good on Microsoft for doing it. I think it's a really. They said that the pad by itself is going to be $100.
Yes,
and then like each of they'll have all of the accessories, which will be priced differently on top of that.
Yeah.
So that people can actually, so that people can play these games, and I think that's pretty cool. I did think it was funny. One of the first comments I saw about it was like, "Holy shit! I understand that this is for accessibility, people with accessibility issues and things like that.
Yeah,
and this is all great for that. But can we get a new Steel Battalion game with this?"
Just create a new Steel Battalion game,
and this is the peripheral we need.
Well, what's interesting is that it looks like you, if it's a Steam, if it's an Xbox controller, right? That means that Steam should recognize it as an Xbox controller. So yes,
but no, like Steel Battalion on Xbox.
Yeah,
can this happen?
Do people really want that?
There are some people that do.
Okay,
like I know some people who still have the original Steel Battalion with the original on the OG Xbox,
sure,
with the giant fucking Steel Battalion.
Mm-hmm. See, I never got a chance to play that one, so my only experience with Steel Battalion is the fucking
see one
Connect
until
game.
About 3 years ago. Like I knew about it, but I'd never seen one in person. And then a friend was like, "Oh yeah, I've got one." I was like, "You do?" And he's like, "Yeah, hold on, I'll go get it." And like pulled it out and actually like we played the game for a little bit. I was just like, "Holy shit, that thing's huge."
Yeah.
And intricate, but yeah, no. People were like, "Yeah, no, this is great, and this is good on Microsoft for doing this because this is awesome." And I really hope that whatever they're looking at as metrics for this quote unquote succeeding,
right,
to continue to support it for a long time, we all hope that they meet that.
Yep.
Because this is a really good thing. But then the people are like, but also it looks really customizable and maybe might be something people who aren't, disabled or have like accessibility issues could look at this and also use it for come up with weird, cool things to do. Like even people who do like use weird controllers to do stuff with music and on their PCs or whatnot. Like all that stuff would be like really cool.
Yeah, looks good. So yeah, good on you, Microsoft. In less great Microsoft news, apparently Sea of Thieves added the ability to create private crews and then took it away less than 24 hours later because of some kind of problem.
Okay.
I have to wonder, it seems like every week I'm getting the things about like how I feel like people who have Xboxes really want Sea of Thieves to work, and that the Sea of Thieves team really wants Sea of Thieves to work, and that they're trying really hard. I just wonder whether or not Sea of Thieves is actually going to end up working.
So everything I've heard about Sea of Thieves is that the community for it is not very big when you compare it to other games.
Yeah.
But it's a very loud and very involved community that everyone who's really into this game is like really into it.
Yeah.
And it's big enough to continue to support it, but it's clearly not like gonna like change anything.
Okay. So like the fans of Rage Slide.
Yes. They're very dedicated, and they're appreciated.
All right, we are going along, so we're going to have to start speeding this up because I got a ton of announcements on the back half of this. Ubisoft had a financial call where they said that Skull and Bones, the standalone Pirate Combat game, is getting pushed to next year.
Yeah.
They said that still means that there's 3 tentpole franchises coming this year, which is the Division 2, the Crew 2, and then as yet unannounced, but because the Ubisoft leak, I'd be willing to bet that that's either Splinter Cell or what was the other one?
I don't remember.
The Assassin's Creed. There was a generic like Assassin's Creed on there, so it's possible. It's actually, now that I think about it, it's probably going to be Assassin's Creed because
I know there's been some rumors that a team at Ubisoft has been remaking the first Assassin's Creed from the ground up.
Oh, okay.
Like just kind of reimagining the game entirely. Like it's still the same game. You're playing as Altair. The story's for the most part the same.
Yeah.
But they've updated everything to make it less
repetitive
and also to up the graphics and everything.
Okay.
But using the same engine as Origin, obviously. But that's the rumor I've heard. I don't know if there's any credence to that rumor. So
okay,
I would prefer it to be a new Splinter Cell game.
Well,
as someone
that was
who doesn't,
listed.
As someone who doesn't play Splinter Cell, I would actually prefer it to be a new Splinter Cell game.
Me too.
We'll find out at E3, I'm sure.
That's true. Speaking of, well, not speaking of E3, but speaking of things getting pushed out, Take-Two has their quote-unquote highly anticipated sequel is being pushed out to fiscal year 2020, which is 2019 through back half of 2019 through the beginning of 2020. There's some questions as to whether or not this is new Borderlands, maybe new BioShock.
A lot of people are saying it's probably a new Borderlands. It's the new Borderlands.
Probably so. Who can say? But that Red Dead Redemption is still on track for October. So
I'm happy about that.
Yep. And finally, in just kind of rumor mill news, Eidos Montreal. Oh, no, wait, I still got a little bit more rumors left to go. Yeah. Eidos Montreal, though, said that Deus Ex apparently is not dead. They're going to be trying to continue that franchise because I feel like we haven't heard anything since the somewhat lukewarm reception that a lot of people had for
the last
Mankind
one.
Divided.
Yeah.
Right? Human Revolution. No, Mankind Divided.
I was going to say Human Revolution was the first one.
Was one before, yeah. Which Mankind Divided kind of ended on a cliffhanger. So I hope they get to finish that because the rumor was that apparently it was going to be one full game and then Square Enix made them chop it at a cliffhanger so they could put out another one later on, which is stupid and dumb and I don't like it. Yeah. But I do like Deus Ex. Hopefully we get more of that. And in terrible rumor news, there is a rumor that Retro Studios is working on a Star Fox racing game.
Okay. You know what? Retro Studios, I feel, has done pretty good as far as their Nintendo games.
Yeah.
So if they want to do a Star Fox racing game, sure, why not? Why not?
I kind of wish that instead of making a Star Fox racing game that they would go ahead and spend some time trying to fix the last Star Fox game and then re-release it on the Switch. Yeah. Like, go back in, take the bones of that game, try to work it into an actual fun game for a little while, take all the motion bullshit out of it, and re-release it on the Switch. Because it pains me to see franchises that I like Star Fox, and then they're just like, well, that last one sucked, so let's make a racing game. It's kind of like when they were like, oh, nobody liked Other M, let's make Federation Force. Even though that's
no
not
one
exactly
enjoys Donkey Kong, let's make Donkey Konga.
Right, exactly. And one more rumor that I put in the wrong place. Apparently, a fan on Twitter asked Ed Boon about more content for Injustice 2. And his response was, you know what else would be cool? KOOL, cool. K, like the K in combat, like Mortal Kombat, like maybe a new Mortal Kombat game?
No, I want more combat in Injustice 2.
Dude, I don't...
Not into more combat characters, but I want new content.
For Injustice 2?
Yeah, for Injustice 2.
I don't care.
I don't care, really.
NetherRealm has become one of my favorites. I fucking love them.
I'm not going to argue. I'm going to play whatever fucking game they come out with. I don't even care if it's not even... It could be a completely new IP that's whatever. I'll fucking play it.
Yep.
But I'm just saying.
Yep. I fucking love Injustice 2 so much. I was playing the Captain Cold multiverse ranks last week, and I was like, wow, I've literally just spent like 5 hours playing as Captain Cold in this fighting game. This is great. So, yeah, put out new Mortal Kombat. Quick hits here. Nintendo put out a trailer for Mario Tennis Aces Adventure Mode, which is their Luigi's been kidnapped and Mario has to go do a bunch of tennis missions to save him as a way to kind of train you for multiplayer / online. This is fine, or I don't know. I think this is fine.
Looks fun.
It's not like, oh shit, I got to get this game now that it's got a Mario, a single player tennis mode in it.
Looks fun.
But then there was probably nothing that was going to get me dramatically excited about a tennis game anyway. So, on top of that, Nintendo also announced a Go Vacation, which is an old Bandai Namco Nintendo Wii minigame collection, where you go to an island resort and then do a bunch of mini games with a little guy that looks like one of the Miis, like a generic version of the Nintendo Mii, for the Switch. So I know that you all were like, hey, you know what we really need is more Wii games on the Switch because there aren't enough.
The only Wii game from that I want to see them port to the Switch is motherfucking Punch-Out.
Metroid Other M. Oh.
Motherfucking Punch-Out.
All right. So I'm going to skip that one, and then we're going to go. Let's see, Zone Avengers 2, Zone Avengers the second runner, Mars, which is the VR/4K remaster, has a new trailer which kind of told us a lot of the same stuff, as well as a new release date, and that release date is September. Fuck, why does it not say there? You assholes! Keep it in the description. September 6, 2018. I really like Zone Avengers, the second runner. I do wonder, though, how vomit-inducing playing it in VR will be. Because I played Wipeout, the Wipeout Anniversary Collection in VR, and that was about as close as I got to literally throwing up in my chair because of the amount of, like, sick movement that was happening. And I played Zone Avengers, and it tends to, like, go back and forth and up and down and really quick dodge moves, so I don't know. But I do like this game, and I want to check it out when it comes out. All right, time for announcements and release date pushes, and these are going to go real fast. People Can Fly, developers of Bulletstorm, is opening some new studios for a Square Enix shooting game that they're making. They're already doing the Avengers game for
which there's some rumors about what that game's going to be.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, some people are thinking it's going to be a sequel to the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games,
and that's why they shut down the servers.
And that there not just that, but I mean there are people who are thinking that that's why Marvel Heroes got shut down, and because they're gonna this unannounced Marvel game.
Ultimate Alliance, right? Okay,
yeah. But this is going to be an Ultimate Alliance sequel kind of thing.
That'd be great.
I like when the article I read was like, and here's why we think that. It literally was like, well, Marvel Heroes got shut down, and if you're going to do an Avengers game, why wouldn't you do an Ultimate Alliance style game?
So rampant speculation. With no
so it's like rampant
correlation.
But it's like, all right, whatever. Probably knock that. But sure, if it's that cool, whatever.
Okay. A report from Red Barrel said the next Outlast game is going to be in the same universe, but it's going to take a dramatically different direction than Outlast 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of trying to keep things moving.
This time, you are one of the people that would normally be the villains.
Maybe.
And you're killing the people. You're the villains of the first game, trying to kill the main player.
Perhaps.
From the other side. Now you get to see both sides of the issues.
I don't know. I never finished Outlast 2.
I never played them.
I played the first one, and then Jason and I played Whistleblower for the Asylum last year.
Yeah.
But I kind of find that the camera, the low night vision goggles stuff.
I remember you and I played a demo or something for Outlast 2?
Did we?
Yeah, or something.
I played
for Super Awesome Video Game Show.
Play so many games, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or for a Patreon or something. I don't fucking remember.
Other strange news.
Yeah.
Stalker 2 is inexplicably announced.
No.
For 2021.
Well, there you go.
Just a website came up. Stalker 2. I think the last Stalker was Shadow of Prepat. Have you ever played any of the Stalker games?
Nope.
They're difficult and weird and Eastern European and kind of feel like early
2021.
access games. Yep. But
2 years away.
2021. We'll see how that goes. Sony is ending physical production of Vita carts.
Yeah.
This was pretty much just a matter of time. This is more of a public service announcement than anything else. I feel like the Vita was a good idea that never.
You know what's weird?
What's that?
Like I loaded up my my Amazon app on my phone the other day, and it was like one of the highest sold games on Amazon or things on Amazon right now is like some PS Vita like all in one like comes with a bunch of games pack.
Oh, like Persona 4 or something.
Yeah, well, it was just like what why is this suddenly all a highest really popular right now thing, highest trending item on Amazon right now? I'm like, what? Why?
Yep. I'm hoping that there comes a sale, like you remember at the very end of the PSP's life when they put like all the UMD movies on sale.
Oh yeah,
for like $1, and it was like yay. But you know what? I tell you what, if you have a PlayStation Vita, it might not be a bad idea for you to buy a physical copy of Persona 4 Golden, because like, let's be honest, this machine is kind of a PS4 or kind of Persona 4 machine. I mean, there were some other things like the Uncharted game that was pretty cool, but do you remember when we played Indivisible, John?
Vaguely.
Do you remember? Does this screenshot ring a bell? It was
Vaguely.
like a 4-player kind of tapping on buttons.
Yeah. No. I know what it is. I vaguely remember us playing it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh yeah.
It was like a weird non-backer beta thing on the PS4.
Oh yeah. No, I do remember that now. Yeah.
It
was like a proof of concept thing.
Yeah. It's by the Skullgirls developers.
Yeah.
Pushed to 2018 or 2019.
Yeah,
which is fine because I didn't know that this game was still even in development because we haven't heard anything about it since.
I think if it's something where they're like, hey, we need to push it to 2019, I say let them do it because that's going to make the game better.
Yep. Well, I hope that goes for the next 2 games, too, because Metro Exodus, announced last year, is also going to 2019, which is not a surprise considering that they announced it last year and it's supposed to come out this year. And I feel like this is the time. We're pre-E3. We're getting all the pushes ahead of time.
Where they want to go, hey, we know we announced this last year, and we're probably not going to talk about it at E3 this year.
Right.
But we're pushing it back to next year.
Right. Also, the new Shenmue.
Yeah, well, I still would be surprised if that ever gets released.
Okay.
Like, I was excited when it was announced. I did not back it on Kickstarter because I didn't feel I needed to.
Yeah.
And everything I've heard about it since then has been kind of like, well, I'm glad I didn't back that.
Well, I'll tell you what is coming out this year. And that is the NES Classic second print
on
of it.
my fucking birthday.
Oh, damn. So, yes, June 29th.
So someone should fucking buy me that.
I agree. Somebody who's not Jeff should buy John an NES Classic. I like my SNES Classic so much that I really can't wait for this to come out because I liked my SNES Classic. I know, Raspberry Pi people. I've got one. But it's nice. I like it. It's a nifty little thing, and I'd be willing to spend $60 on this if it comes out. And last but not least, in more, hey, John, check this out. This is for you news. I don't know if you saw this, but Remedy put up a tweet this week of
best doggo ever.
A dog with a bunch of motion capture dots on it.
Yeah.
And this dog's
name is Nunzo? Or Uno?
Uno sounds about right.
Uno?
Yeah, UUNO.
Yeah, Uno.
But apparently they're doing some kind of motion capture with the dog.
So what they said is that this is not for any specific game. They're just doing some tests on what they can do with new motion capture techniques.
Okay.
And they were able to hire this dog.
Okay.
So the dog or its owner is being paid.
Okay.
And that everything they did worked really well. That they may also be using the dog for future games that are going to be in development that may have a dog in it. And my reaction is this needs to be Dog Payne. This is the new Max Payne game. At the end of Max Payne 4, Max got a dog, and then Max Payne gets killed, and the dog has to get revenge.
The dog's just going sideways in slow motion.
Yes.
Yep.
And it could be this dog. This dog is adorable, and he's the best dog ever.
This dog may need to be a little bit more grizzled if he's going to be in Max Payne games. But anyway, Remedy's putting motion capture dots on a dog, and that's cool. This dog is also awesome looking and has so much more personality than, let's say, like the dog in Ghosts. That you remember how much they cared about the Activision was pushing that dog from Ghosts at you, and it was just like, I don't care. Anyway, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to answer some questions. So everybody stick around, and we'll see you in a minute. We're back, and it's time for a lot of things. It's time for questions, but before we get to questions, I actually ended up playing a game this week that I really enjoyed, and I want to talk about it.
Okay.
And that was Wizard of Legend, which I'm sure, given the way that the hits are on Rage Select at this point, probably about 400 people watched on Friday. But this game was super, 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 super goddamn fun, and I really, really enjoyed it. So basically, this is a roguelike where you play as a little pixel-based wizard, kind of a Magica-looking thing, and you are sent to basically these trials where you have to kind of go through these procedurally generated areas and fight monsters and beat bosses, and you're going to buy upgrades and move up in the world. Like when you start, you get the ability to set up a basic attack, a dash move,
Okay.
and then like 2 other kind of attacks, like 2 other spells. But as the game goes on, you can unlock a shitload of different spells, and they all operate differently.
Looks fast-paced.
It is.
On the trailer that you're playing right now.
Yeah, very fast-paced. When you get into the dungeons, also, every dungeon has a store that has relics. You can equip one relic before you go into the dungeon that do gameplay alterations, like gives you more money or like gives you better armor or stuff like that. Makes fire magic more effective. Or and then as you go through the dungeons, you'll get to shops. You earn 2 different types of currency. One that you can use to buy stuff outside of the dungeon in order to basically customize your loadout, and it's all kind of randomized, so you just keep buying it, keep buying it. The other is cash that you use inside of the dungeon to buy more spells, because you can have up to 5 spells. Every one of the face buttons has a spell. One of those is a dedicated light attack, and one of them is a dedicated dodge move. But then the 2 other buttons are specific spells, and then the 2 shoulder buttons are also 2 different spells.
Okay.
So you can basically use those to... You can end up decked out, like the times that I've gotten pretty close to the end. So it's basically a World 1, World 2 boss, World 2, World 2-1, 2-2 boss, 3-1, 3-2 boss, and there's a final boss. I've never managed to get through... I managed to get all the way up to the 3-3 boss, but I can't beat them because there's 3 characters, these that you see on the side, that are different, an earth, a fire, and a water character that are the bosses, and they all have... patterns that get more aggressive as they get higher up the chain.
Yeah.
And I can't beat the level 3 super aggressive ones yet. But that's not for lack of trying, and I feel like I'm just... And then there's a boss that's after that when you beat the game. It's incredibly charming and fun. It's very addictive. It's like very fast-paced. It's kind of like just top-down. You're doing stuff. But the cool thing is that all of the spells have different types of effects. Like some of them are, like there's a homing fireball that I've been using that creates a ring of fire around you, and then it shoots those fireballs out one at a time, kind of in missiles. But there's also like summon big chess piece knights that all do one move and attack enemies and create a barrier. Or like when you dash, sometimes you can just leave plague behind you, but sometimes you could leave a fire trail behind you, but sometimes you could leave blah, 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 blah. The basic attacks are all different. It's a really solid little game, and it's $15, and I think that it's real cool. And I highly recommend that if you don't, go watch the video that we created, because we plan on playing it for 30 minutes, played it for an hour because it was so goddamn fun.
Okay.
And I think that it's super, super worth it. So,
can I talk about a game real quick?
Yes,
I already
absolutely.
talked about a game with you. I talked about it with you like in person, but
Go
I
for
figure
it.
since we're giving like little reviews and shout outs here, it's a game I played called Streets of Red.
Okay.
It just came out on the Switch earlier this month. I think it's already been on Steam. It might have been on early access for a long period of time.
Okay.
But it's kind of a side-scrolling brawler.
Oh, Devil's Dare.
Yeah.
Okay, when you said Streets of Red, we played this as Devil's Dare when it came out. But no. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's called Streets of Red, Devil's Dare. It just got released on the Switch.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. It's kind of the idea behind it is kind of very video games versus horror movies monsters. So like you go into one level and like all the monsters are based kind of on The Thing, or in another one there's like all the many creep monsters are based off of like Child's Play, the movie. But it's kind of cool. It's you get different characters, and the interesting thing about it is like in between each level you get the choice of being able to buy like an upgrade of some type. Like you can either buy an upgrade to get higher health, more health, or more maybe you do more damage, or maybe you're buying a specific upgrade to a specific attack for your character,
right?
Or you can choose to buy a token that allows you to continue if you die, kind of thing. The thing about it is when you actually die in the game, and you can't continue, it deletes your save.
Right.
But it's pretty cool. Like I liked it. I like it a lot, especially on the Switch. Like it's really good for that, like kind of portable on the game. You play it for a little bit, maybe save your game, come back to it a little bit later. I think the interesting thing is like each level is only so long. However, like you could choose to play either like there's like 5 different areas. And you can play them in different orders, and the order you play them in also depends on the length of the level.
Yeah.
So like each level has like maybe like you play it for a little bit and you get a boss. So if you pick that one first, you just play it for a little bit and you get a boss. Then you've beaten that stage, and then you go to the next one, and that one you play it for a little bit, you get a boss. Then you play it for a little bit more, and you get another boss.
Yeah.
It's really cool, a lot of fun. Like it's really good controls. I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, it just came out on the Switch.
Yeah, Jason and I played this in October of 2014.
Yeah.
Was when it when it initially came out. I remember playing this game and I really liked it.
It's a lot of fun. If I have one complaint with it, it's its color palette. Its color palette is red and gray and black and gray,
tan,
and maybe some blues as well.
Right.
They're all very dark and they're not always the easiest on the eyes, especially on the little handheld screen. Like, I feel like what you just brought up the Rage Select video that you and Jason did and kind of full screened it for me here. I actually feel like it looks a lot better on a bigger screen.
Yeah.
Like, I even feel like it looks better on my projector. But, like, on a tiny screen, the color palette kind of doesn't.
It's not made for super accessible looking at.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, things can muddily
it kind of looks a little muddy if I had
together.
any complaint about it. But other than that, I thought if you have a Switch, I think it's a great game for the Switch.
Yeah, it reminds me an awful lot of the of kind of the Scott Pilgrim game a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It does. But yeah, no, it's great. I've been playing it obsessively. I've yet to actually beat it because I haven't been playing it too long. But I'm really enjoying a lot of what I'm seeing in this.
Cool. Yeah, I remember really enjoying it when we played it back in the old days. It was just one of those things I never had time to really go back. It's funny because you said that, and when you were describing it, it sounded a lot like Devil's Dare.
Well,
but
I think I had told you about it once before. And you were like, no, we played that already. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess you played it on a dojo. I think I had suggested it for something.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, we already played that. So, and I remember you saying that you played it.
Yeah.
And then I said, and I think you said you played it, and you're like, I've never heard of this game. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the name. It's because the name. It's because I'm pretty familiar with the name. If you'd said Devil's Dare, I would have known. But yeah, no, it's that's a good choice for the Switch. I also feel like you could do co-op. With the two,
yeah, you can do co-op with 2 Joy-Cons, which is great because 2 Joy-Cons on one screen, and I don't feel like the screen ever gets too busy.
Yeah,
like I don't feel like it ever gets so busy that you can't like play on the small screen.
Oh yeah,
with 2 players, but I do feel like the color palette still kind of hinders it.
I wonder if there's an accessibility option for it. Anyway, well, let's jump into the questions this week. Our first question comes in from Julio. Julio says, hey, Jeff and John, while going on my Mecha binge, I wanted to check out the Macross series. While I tried searching for Blu-rays or legal streams of it, I can't seem to find any Macross stuff subtitled in English or with a dub that isn't outrageously expensive. So to make a long and very complicated story short, the Robotech IP existence means that no Macross-related products, including anime, games, books, and manga, can ever come out in North America or Europe unless Harmony Gold doesn't put out a Robotech-related product by 2021, leaving me with a choice of pirating a lot of the Macross series or watching no Macross at all, and that sucks. So, Jeff and John, has there ever been any legal copyright BS affecting a franchise that you like, and do you think it's morally right to pirate stuff that the consumer cannot easily access and pay for? Thanks for answering my question, Julio. So
there is the Harmony Gold thing. The problem with that is that certain stuff can be released here.
Okay.
Like there are certain, like there have been, I think they're a lot out of print because I think the company that brought them over went out of business, and because of the copyrights that they held, made it so that a lot of stuff. But like if it's something that Harmony Gold adapted, it cannot be released here unless Harmony Gold approves it.
Because Macross Plus was a manga,
U.S.
or whatever.
Manga Core.
Yeah.
They also released Macross 2, the movie.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's like that stuff got released here, but I think that stuff is all out of print because U.S. Manga Core, I think, went out of business.
Okay.
Or got bought by Manga Entertainment, and then Manga Entertainment I don't think is still in business.
Okay.
I think they went out of business as well because a lot of their stuff is now I think the only anime companies that exist now are Funimation and Funimation.
Okay. Double
I think Funimation just bought everything up, and like there are no other manga or anime companies out there. There might be like some smaller ones, but like Crunchyroll and
I think Netflix has some stuff.
Yeah.
They've been
they've been getting some stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, a lot of that I totally get that. Yeah, totally Sentai, which luckily because of their deal with Shout Factory, Saban is actually allowing Shout Factory to release a lot of the Sentai stuff.
Okay.
Here overseas, so we've been slowly getting DVDs and Blu-rays of the non Power Rangers adapted, or even the Power Rangers adapted Sentai stuff.
Right.
Which I fucking love the Sentai stuff. I'm actually also a huge fan of another Toei Sentai thing, Kamen Rider, which ain't ever I feel like it's never going to get released over here because I think a third part. I think Saban at one point owned the rights to it, but then they sold it off because their Kamen Rider show didn't do very well, and then that company is just not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's gotten released stateside is Amazon released under the name Amazon Riders here in the U.S., which is the Kamen Rider Amazon series. But the reason they were allowed to do that is because they actually owned the rights to it,
Okay.
like internationally. Because the show was made specifically for them. So they've brought it over here. But as far as the legality question, or do you want to, is there any show that you can think of that
yeah, I can actually say that there's been a lot over the years.
Yeah.
Specifically, the one that really kind of kicked off my Cody habit, so to speak, back in the old days when I was a little bit more of a dirty, filthy pirate, was Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Because when Doctor Who restarted in the BBC, it would be like a year later when it would come out on BBC America or DVD or any release in this country. And I was just kind of like, nah. I mean, because it was a BBC show.
Yeah.
It obviously had a following in America, but Doctor Who was never like a phenomena in America. It was like they put it out, after they
it definitely
put it out.
became that, and they did everything they could to finally.
Right. So we're now, it's like, it simulcasts in America. Like I think even as little as like 2 years ago, there was it would debut on BBC, and then like 2 hours later they would put it out on the US channel, the BBC America.
Yeah.
And that was so that they could fucking shove a bunch of garbage commercials in, I think. But that was the biggest one for me, is that that, and then I feel like early on, there was a point in the 90s, when everybody was doing when the J-horror craze was a big old thing.
Yeah.
And it's like you weren't getting these kind of weirdly obscure.
Oh yeah, no, I still have my bootleg copies of like The Eye and there's another one I can't think of what it was. It's legitimately
Ring Zero,
a bootleg that I found like at a convention that is totally like not a legit copy. I think I bought it at an anime convention.
Yeah.
At a booth that sold bootlegs of.
Well, not just that. I mean, like, again, I know that I've talked about this before, Julio, but you must understand that in the late 90s to early 2000s, anime, if you were a fan of anime, like those manga releases,
you were totally pirating it.
Yeah, like I mean,
fan subs were where you went because
either tape trading, or I remember there was a store in Austin that opened up that was literally like retail selling fan
VHSs,
subs,
yeah,
VHS fan subs. I've ordered a VCD of Charged Counterattack that was a total fan sub off of there. I mean, like Gundam was a really cool series, and I knew a guy who got me into it. But the problem was you couldn't get any of it here in the United States because we were still 5 years from the existence of like Wing Gundam, right? We're talking about the UC old Gundam where you just were like, it was tapes. It was fan sub tapes with a Xeroxed front of it, because when you went to the animation section, literally you go to the animation section and it was like Ninja Scroll, Akira, Ghost in the Shell 1. Like there was no OVAs. It was just
the movies. Yeah.
Like I feel like when
even Yu Yu Hakusho Poltergeist Report, the movie was one of them that would be in there, and that's a movie from a series, but it's just the movie.
Yeah.
Like no one had ever heard of the series.
Tomorrow or on Tuesday, the video that's coming out, Matt and I end up yelling for about an hour about. Or not an hour, but you end up yelling pretty severely for about 20 minutes about Evangelion. But like Cowboy Bebop and Evangelion, I think were the first times where I was seeing an OVA released stateside, a long-term OVA released a little bit at a time stateside, as opposed to something like it's like Gunsmith Cats back in the old days, where it's just like 3 episodes on one VHS tape.
I have that on DVD. I have had that for a long time.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite animes.
But that you just weren't seeing like an interest in the. I feel like stateside at that time, home video releases were mostly concerned, 90% concerned, and we're talking late 90s, early 2000s, with movies.
Like what could fit on one disc.
Right. Like, or for me, it was tapes, one tape. Yeah. Like, when you look, I swear to God, if you ever go to Half Price Books here in Austin, or if you have a Half Price Books or whatever, sometimes you'll wander into the back and you'll see, like, what it was like to let's say you wanted to own Star Trek The Next Generation on home video.
Yeah.
And you'll see a stack of tapes that is just ridiculous because they released them 2 episodes at a time on a big fat tape. So each tape would have, because the tapes literally on SLP, now we're getting into weird technical stuff, they weren't able to hold that much. And because each tape had to be one big old fucking block, like the idea of putting out like season 1 of, I don't know, Quantum Leap, right, on VHS was a huge physical undertaking.
Back then, TV shows rarely get really put on, like anything that was a series of anything rarely got put on VHS.
It was weird because in a case of something like Star Trek,
unless they were like 30-minute episodes or whatever, and even then it was like rare.
Yeah, I feel like Star Trek got it because Star Trek was so fucking popular.
Yeah, no, it was.
But it was weird because they would release like one over here and one over here and then one over here and then kind of fill in the holes. Like they would release specific
the popular episodes.
Yeah,
like these are the episodes people wanted to rewatch.
Right. So the idea of an OVA was weird back then, especially in the United States. And it wasn't until later. I feel like it was around the DVD time where you could fit a whole season into a box, right?
Yeah. No, DVDs. The inventions of DVDs is definitely what opened up the anime market of we can actually release stuff on TV. Actual like series, and we can put multiple episodes on. Like we can put 6 episodes on one disc, and it doesn't hurt the quality,
right?
And we can put multiple discs in a case, and we can charge $60 for it, and it only cost us like $10 to make that case and disc and everything.
Yeah,
and we'll make tons of money.
So there was a lot of mostly Japanese. That was my thing. Was I wanted to like anime, but it was hard to find.
Yeah,
like I think I have one of those old flip book things that has like a bunch of CDs. Burned CDs, CDRs with like Trigun 1, Trigun 2, Trigun 3, like on
Same here. I've got like all of that. Because also me being my first job was working at an internet service provider, so it was like learning the ins and outs of the internet and what could break the internet and what you could do on the internet.
Yeah.
Like I had a lot of friends who were like, "Oh man, these news groups are where you want to go to download like fan subs of stuff." You'd be like, "Oh shit, that you can find that stuff on the internet." Oh yeah, you can find it in all sorts of qualities, in all sorts of formats, whether it be fucking Real Player or .mov, QuickTime.
Oh man, those old Real Player episodes.
And so I literally have just you name it, I had it back then.
Yeah.
And then when it would come out on DVD, I'd go buy it because it's like, now that I can buy it, I'm going to go buy it. Now that I have the ability to.
Yeah. There were some of those, but I'll be real honest with myself is that there were plenty that I didn't. Also.
Oh no, there were plenty that I didn't buy because either A, I didn't like them, or B, the company that made them wanted too much money. Like FLCL was the one series that always pissed me off.
Oh really?
Because they released the discs. The discs were $40 a piece. They released them 2 episodes per disc.
Yep. They used to do that shit.
And there's only 6 episodes of FLCL. They could put up the entire fucking series on one disc, and they wanted $40 fucking per disc
Yep.
for they can go
They
fuck
want
themselves.
$120 for Fully Cooley.
Yeah, they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Now,
As far as the moral, the like, do you think it's wrong to pirate? The thing that I'm going to say, Julio, is that when I was younger, I didn't have. Well, first off, again, there was no way in hell I was going to spend $120 on 6 episodes of a TV show. It doesn't matter what it was. It doesn't matter if it was the greatest TV show of all time. When I was younger, $120, especially when I was in my teenage years and early 20s, $120 was a lot of money that could do a lot of stuff.
hell, $40 was a lot of money.
Oh, also, it's worth remembering that I was 21 in 1996 when $120 really was more money than it is now. $120 in 1996 was like a larger amount of money than it is in 2018.
You could buy a whole SNES game.
What, you can buy a whole SNES for that?
Dude, there are like articles where like, oh, you can buy Mario and it's $139.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, like you kind of don't remember how expensive some of those games were.
Some of that, though, I feel like was because of the supply and demand.
Yeah.
But anyway, as far as the morality of it goes, my whole thing is that if a company's not willing to give me reasonable access to their product,
Yeah.
then I kind of don't feel super bad. It depends on the thing, but for the most part, if you're talking about a big company, if they're going to make me wait a year for a show that's in English and is out and doesn't need any remastering or work or anything, then that's one of those things where the fucking BBC can kind of go eat a dick.
So here's something, and it's an analogy I will bring up.
Yeah.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Sure.
Back in the day, before when it just aired on TV, there weren't any like VHS tapes or DVDs that you could buy of the show or whatnot. At the end of the credits, they had a thing that said, keep circulating the tapes.
Yep.
And what that was insinuating was, hey, we know we can't sell you these because we don't have the ability to, because we don't have the rights to sell
the
them.
movies. Yeah.
So keep passing tapes along to people, because a lot of ways that's how a lot of people found out about it, because they didn't get the KTMA episodes because they weren't in fucking Minnesota,
right?
Or they don't have Comedy Central or whatever, or the Comedy Channel or whatever, so that you would circulate these tapes. And then eventually, as the internet got bigger, people put all of the episodes online. You could find them on YouTube. You could find them on different BitTorrent sites. And then Rhino Video got a hold of it and started releasing VHSs and then DVDs. And then Rhino Video lost the rights to it, and Shout Factory got it, and they started releasing more of the DVDs. And one of the great things I love about that community with the MST3K was that because of the fact that the creators of the show were like, hey, keep circulating the tapes, we give you permission to do this.
Right.
What they said is if the episode is not legitimately available,
Yeah.
then it will be online.
Yeah.
The second Shout Factory or whoever releases a legit copy for purchase in stores, pull it off.
Yeah.
And for the most part, outside of the really shitty people who are like, no, I'm not spending money on anything, I'm going to pirate everything.
Right.
With the exception of those people, everyone adhered to that.
Yeah.
Some people went, well, I bought them, but I'd like to also have my digital copy as well, so I just hoard these digital copies as well.
Right.
Which, fine, whatever. That's a whole other discussion. But I actually like, that's kind of the and even fan subbers adopt that same thing, which is we'll keep it online, our fan subs of it, but the second it's released, either dubbed, subbed, or otherwise, legally here in the States, we pull it off the internet.
And to be honest, there aren't a lot of,
and that's kind of where I stand on it. Is if it's legally able to be attained here, don't download it.
It's also I feel like it's a very different era because there aren't that many places now. I feel like HBO was like the last holdout, but you can even fucking sign up for like what, $10 a month for HBO now or whatever.
Yeah,
is that it's not expensive anymore. Like, I just finished watching a 2015 Polish mermaid horror movie. It cost $4 on Amazon to rent for 48 hours. Like, that was just $4. And I realize that $4 is more to somebody than it is to somebody else. But, like, you know what? I got 2 hours and I got to watch this movie. I didn't have to import this movie. I didn't have to go to a special store. I didn't have to order it from a weird distributor. I went to Amazon. I typed in the lure. It was there. Bleep, bleep, bloop. I did it. So Crunchyroll has a lot of anime on it.
Hell, even Verve.
Hulu has a lot of anime on it. You know,
yeah, Funimation has their own streaming service, which is also part of Verve.
Yeah,
you know, there's also streaming services for horror movies like Shudder.
Yep.
You know, like there's a whole. I mean,
if you were to buy Netflix, Hulu, Shudder, Crunchyroll, and Amazon Prime Video, you'd be spending about $40 a month, maybe a little bit less than that, maybe a little bit more.
Because I'm trying to think, because I have Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, and Verve, which Verve is contains Crunchyroll, Funimation, Shudder, Stargate Command, and like a bunch of other like streaming services that are all in one thing. And by subscribing to their $10 a month thing, you get access to all of it.
Okay.
Which is actually, I really recommend it if you haven't done it. At first, I was a little hesitant on Verve because their service wasn't that great and they didn't have a lot of different streaming content. But now it's fucking packed to the gills. With shit.
But then and then you add in like the ability to rent stuff on, say, the Sony store or Google Play or whatever. Like the thing is that I have less sympathy nowadays for pirates, because for the, what is it, $8 a month for Crunchyroll, or something like that, you can watch all of Fooly Cooly, or hell, it's all on Hulu as well. You can watch it subbed, you can watch it dubbed, you can watch whatever you want to. Like, so
I agree. Now, like, again, going back to my whole Sentai thing, I'm watching the current Lupin Ranger versus Patro Ranger Super Sentai series. That ain't available anywhere.
Right.
I can't watch that other than by downloading it through fan subs.
Right.
And it's so good. It's so good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I say, Julio, that if a company is not willing to, we live in a global digital age, and if somebody ain't willing to give me the ability to, I want to give you my money. If you don't want my money, then I'm going to find a way to watch it regardless. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't think, because I do think that there's a place where there's a philosophy that says if you have a reasonable, not super expensive, but not no money, some amount of money reasonably available, that you should pay people for the things that they do. That you shouldn't just have everything for free, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, if they want too much money or it's garbage or they're fucking around, then maybe no. And then on the third hand, it shouldn't all be free. Like, the idea of just getting to watch every single great thing that exists in the world for $0 is selfish, and eventually things go away if you do it that way.
Yeah,
so.
And also, having said that, if I could find some type of streaming service that would allow me to get like Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and Sentai all in one place, streaming, subtitled, I would fucking sign up for it.
You would do that. I know you would
sign up for it in a fucking instant.
I know you do it. All right, this is a weird one. This next question comes in from Wang Dangler, who says, "Hey, Jeff and John. Hope my question isn't too much, but I was wondering what ways you've thought about changing your show's formats. I know you say that you like the small group of dedicated, non-asshole-ish fans that you have now. Your general lifestyle has been better these days from not having to edit puppet skits all the time so that you can have a life. I was wondering if you've thought about possible ways of attracting more people to the channel and branching out in different ways of doing Let's Plays. Intros and outros were a thing that made the videos different from others, and it's hard to say that voiceover personalities alone will attract more patrons. That's my opinion anyway. Wish you guys all the best." From Wang Dangler. P.S. My God, the Nintendo Labo videos were so cute. Lol. So I this is the sort of question that a lot of times I would probably just gloss over, but I thought I would talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Wayne Dangler. I gotta say that I have a lot of weird feelings about the answer to this question, because those Nintendo Labo videos took about 8.5 to 10 hours to edit per 20 to 10 minute video. It was probably about 12 hours all told between.
Those videos were anywhere between 15 and maybe 17 minutes long.
The first one was 20. The second one
was it?
10. Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I could have swore it was 17.
Maybe it was. I don't know. I end up chopping in the editing process. But if you go back and look, 17 and 11. Yeah. So anyway, it was about 12 to 14 hours of editing between the two of them. It was somewhere around 7 to 8 hours per video. You have to remember that every single cut in that video represents a manual move of video footage in a software. The entire audio track had to go in. I had to go in and manually dip every time one person was talking and the other one wasn't, because the other person's lav mic was picking up the other person, and so it ended up creating a kind of an echoey effect that made the video sound gross. So I ended up having to go through second by second and dip the audio of whoever wasn't talking and then cut the places where they were talking. There are a gajillion cuts in those videos. So here's the thing. The first video did relatively okay. As of we're Thursday. That video came out on Monday. I put it public on Tuesday. It's got about 1,200 views. The second video doesn't even have 700 views in it. So the amount of time that we're talking about for those, and to make a good comparison when it comes to specifically bringing other people, say, into the channel, Monster Prom has 2,213 views. That was 1 hour worth of Amanda and I recording and editing and whatnot, or mostly just putting things together in the beginning and the end and a little bit of stuff in between. So while I have thought about changing the format, I just don't know that at this point, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. It seems like people are more interested in watching specific video games on Rage Select. That if a game comes up that's not interesting to the person, they're not going to click on it regardless.
Yeah.
I feel like in the past that there were people that were more willing to give it a chance. Like the Devil's Dare video has 3,000 hits, which is great for the olden days. It's Jason and I kind of back in the prime days getting into, where everything we were doing, we were just, putting ourselves way out there, big personality, that kind of stuff. Nowadays, I feel like if it's a game where, if it's a game that people are interested in, like, say, Far Cry, that you're going to be getting closer to 2,000 hits, or if it's something like Monster Prom that everybody really liked, then those will get a good amount of hits. But then there's plenty of stuff in between that, people just aren't super interested in watching. Like, for example, God of War, part 1 and 2 did great. But then, some of the stuff that came in between that, not so much. Like Yakuza 6 didn't do super fantastically awesome. So the answer to your question, of course, is that there's a... Let's see, how would I put this? The amount of work to create different videos. Like, let's say it was a video essay format like somebody like Jim Sterling does, right? Where it's like, you got to write a script, you got to think about what you're doing, you got to record it, which is going to take maybe multiple recordings, you've got to edit it, you've got to go find the footage to put together into it, B-roll, stuff like that from various games and whatnot. If those represent, maybe 2,000 hits on the upper end of the spectrum, that's not anybody who's not already watching Rage Select. That's not the greater internet at large. So then you start to wonder about chasing the viral video, which I think is a bad idea. I mean, we could totally make top 10 reasons why The Witcher sucks ass and you don't even know it, and get 1 billion hits, right? Because people are going to click on that title. But I don't know if I want to be doing that. I don't know if that's something where I want to be putting a lot of work into essentially making controversial clickbait videos.
Yeah.
So, and I don't even know whether doing that would bring in a huge amount of additional patrons to the website. It's really just a question of what it really comes down to, in my opinion, Wine Dangler, is that I'm fucking 40 years old and I don't have my finger on the pulse of anything anymore. I'm like, I don't understand these Fortnites. I'd like to go back to Dark Souls. Remember when everybody liked Dark Souls?
That never happened. It was only you, Jeff.
It was only me that ever really liked Dark Souls?
From Software has literally been putting all of their kids through college by the amount of times that you've bought that game.
Yeah. So I think that I think that it may be right, but so I'll tell you, Wayne Dangler, one of the reasons that I stopped doing the intros and outros the first time, and then I brought it back the second time, and I got overwhelmed. But one of the reasons that I stopped doing them the first time was that Jason and I did those puppet skits for Star Wars Battlefront 1, all the little Star Wars skits that we had, and I really liked them. They took a shitload of work, but I liked them. Like I was going in and recreating the background audio from Star Wars to be able to get our vocals in there and not fuck it all up. Then Brian Brushman and I played Fallout 4, and Jason Murphy and I doing puppet skits, doing complicated intros to Star Wars Battlefront was had a slightly lower hit count than Brian Brushwood and I playing Fallout 4 with no intros whatsoever. So it kind of became a question of, and over the course of the channel, as I was doing the puppet intros, I know that a lot of people miss the puppet intros, but they never really made a big difference. It wasn't like, we were exponentially growing. It's like the same 3,000 to 5,000 people that liked Rage Select were coming and watching the videos, and those numbers are maybe down at this point, but the Patreon support has never been like, if you look at the Patreon support for Rage Select, it's kind of a mesa that it kind of goes up and it goes down depending on the time of year. But it's never been like there was a time where I was working my ass off and suddenly, holy shit, we're getting 20,000 hits per video, or holy shit, you're just doing the best that you possibly can, and then suddenly that work starts paying off in a way. It always just kind of felt like like an even keel of stuff that was happening. So I don't know. Maybe changing up the video format would be a thing. It's just the thing is that somebody said that they would rather see 15-minute Rage Select videos in the comment section for the Nintendo Labo, and I asked that person, would you rather see 2 15-minute videos a week as opposed to 7, 40-minute long videos a week? Because that additional editing time is a real tax on my life. Like, it's a big thing. It's a big chunk of time. That time editing, I can't be recording with somebody else. I can't be posting videos. I can't be making stuff. It's a huge amount of time that would cut into the production of other videos. So the only way that I can see to at least up the amount of production in each video is to drastically lower the number of videos that are coming out every week. And I just don't know really if that's a thing that people are interested in. So I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's kind of where it is. I'm glad that you enjoyed the Nintendo Labo videos. I'm sure that everybody will have. The thing is that over the years, a lot of people have had advice for me. The question is really just, do you drastically? So many channels have fucked themselves by drastically changing their format, and then suddenly everybody just is like, nah, it's all right.
Well, it's like there's one channel, I'm not going to name the channel, that like drastically, like they would do. They actually very similar to Rage Select in a lot of ways. They had these whole skits at the very beginning of their videos. They actually had like a different type of puppet kind of thing in their skits. And then now they still do something different, but like they drastically changed it, even to the point of that they changed the name and created a new YouTube channel and like started over from scratch. And I don't think they're any better off than they were on the old
Previously,
channel.
yeah.
Like they're like, well, maybe we screwed up by, when we created our channel, there was like literally 6 months would go by and we wouldn't upload a video. And then after about a year, we finally like got to a place where we could do a video every week. And then it's not doing anything. Maybe this channel's broken. Let's start up a new one, and then we'll have content every week. And I don't think they're doing that much better because of it. And it's just like,
I mean, I've faced that problem. Like I've read some articles that say that like because all the Patreon videos are unlisted, and that because they're unlisted but they're getting hits, it means that YouTube sees them as low performance videos, and by having a huge number of low performance videos on your channel, YouTube may be less likely to then surface your videos in a search for, say, Far Cry 5, right?
Yeah.
That they may be like, well, this Rage Select channel has all of these low performance videos because a Patreon video gets like a couple hundred hits, as opposed to a public video, which usually gets about 1,000 depending. So that's and like, because the YouTube algorithm, one, changes so often, and two, is completely opaque, I don't know. Yeah. Should I start a different channel and then go back in and try to re-upload all of the Patreon videos to a different channel so that I don't have those unlisted? Is whatever that reputation damage that's done to the channel already done? Like, last time I checked, we had something like 11,000 subscribers, and I don't know whether people aren't watching because, one, Rage Select is terrible and everybody hates it because Jeff sucks. Two, the YouTube algorithm has not been serving people the videos because those initial subscribers never, once the bell got implemented, that nobody came back and hit the bell on one of our videos, and so now that's just not showing them anything at all because it wants them going between different channels. Like, I don't know. I literally don't know what the problem or why the numbers are lower. I don't know if it's because Jeff is burned out and people don't want to listen to him, or like what the thing is. But
I don't think anyone hates you.
No, here's the thing. I think there are people that hate me, but I think a lot of them have left. But the thing is that I think that you can stop watching a YouTube channel and remain subscribed to it.
True. This
right?
is true.
So, like, there's never been a day where it's like, oh, this podcast came out and suddenly our subscriber count just dropped by 2,000 subscribers. It's like, oh, shit, what did we say? We need to back that up. And everybody, I apologize for saying that people named Jim are stinky wieners. Like, I don't know. It's really the thing.
Can't believe you said that about Jim.
I just, but you know, back in the old days when we had puppet stuff, that's like a lot of the puppet stuff that I put a lot of work into never resulted in, to be really honest, getting 5,000 hits per video and having those videos be monetized is nothing financially. So like that amount of traffic on a YouTube video is nothing. It means nothing in a way where I was getting so little money from our monetization that I just started not monetizing the videos because why make people watch ads, and we're making most of the money off of Patreon anyway. But again, I don't know. It's possible. I've heard from people that if you choose not to monetize your YouTube videos, YouTube wants money. They want advertisers, so that they may be depressing those videos because they're not monetized, because they want that advertising cash that you get when a commercial comes up. So is that the thing? Is it because the videos are not monetized anymore that there's been a depression? When I brought back the puppets, we got a little bit more traction, but the problem is that there's a one-way streak in the internet where, like, you got the puppets. One day the puppets go away, and I'm like, hey, we're not going to do puppets anymore. There's a bunch of people who are like, all right, I was only here for the puppets. I'm out. And then, like, if you bring the puppets back in 6 months, they don't come back. Those people don't come back to see, like, hey, did you guys ever bring the puppets back? They found another thing to watch on the internet.
Yeah.
So you're not getting them back by bringing the puppets back because nobody cares, right? So there's a lot of questions here that are like, I don't understand how this thing works, and I don't know the answer, and I don't know that if I did something. For example, you remember when I made when I played the New Vegas thing, and I said the Jeff Loves New Vegas video? That video did very, very well. The next video, I did a thing with heat signature that I'd been thinking about and trying to do a thing, and I recorded it a couple times, and I finally got a thing that I liked. It didn't matter because it didn't say New Vegas on it. People weren't interested in listening to it, so, you know, it got basically the same as a regular dojo. So the real answer, Wayne Dangler, is that I don't know if changing the format would make a difference. I don't know if it might be better to cut the number of videos on Rage Select in half and make a second channel that does video reviews, you know, and maybe that's way more interesting to people, or maybe not. The problem is just that it's hard to know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We got time for a couple more of these. I'm going to save this one from Captain Innuendo for next week. Let's see.
Remember that, Captain Innuendo. He said he's saving it for next week.
All right, this next one comes in from Swedish Latino, who says, hola, Uncle Jeff and John. I was wondering if there is a mechanic or option that you find essential in video games. For me, it's very important that games have an option for colorblind people because I can't tell red and green apart. Thank you for answering my question. I'll leave you with a quote from Brian's daughter, Poop. And he says, Hejvez, something, exclamation point, from Swedish Latino. Something that you find absolutely essential.
Subtitles.
Subtitles is...
Controller support.
Yeah. Yeah, controller support and subtitles are both really... I feel like whenever I run into a game that doesn't have those, I'm like, huh? Like, what? It's 2018, man. I'll tell you the one that gets on my nerves. Every so often, no gamma slider.
Oh, yeah.
Because my capture box captures slightly dark, so I always like to goose the gamma a little bit, right?
Yeah.
What's good for the goose is good for the gamma. That's what I always say.
Go. I'm going to leave now.
Yeah.
Going home.
Also, I hate it when games... This isn't essential, but I hate it when games... come to a title screen, and I hate it at that title screen when they say press any key to start, because it means that when I'm trying to capture and I want to be on a main screen, that I've got to like do some mojo to try to get a place where I can sync up the audio to the video before hitting a button before it comes up, especially on Steam games. But other than that, I'm pretty cool. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, just Subtitles and controller support.
Michael says, hello, Jeff and John. Thank you for reading my questions. If you could kill one video game trope forever, what would it be? For example, escort missions, which I believe is a trope that has been thankfully abolished in the game industry. If you wish to lengthen the question, you could talk about any hated tropes in any medium, like when movies telegraph things too obviously. Your faithful listener, Michael. Thing you want to totally get rid of in video games. This isn't... I don't know.
I don't want to kill anything, and this is going to sound really bad. Even like tropes or game mechanics or whatever that I really fucking hate.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill them completely because there's always the possibility that there may be that one company that comes around with a take on it.
Yeah.
That suddenly turns me around and goes, "Oh,
okay,
this isn't that bad."
Yes, I have thought of two.
Jeff has thought of two, so he thought of one for himself and one for me.
That's true. That's true.
Since I have opted out.
Okay, so here we go, Michael. One, this is a thing that happens in a lot of video games. I fucking hate it. If you're gonna put an audio log in your video game, please let it play after I've walked away from it in my ears. I don't care if that breaks immersion or if it doesn't make any sense, but I don't understand. There is no part of me, John, that understands why a developer would like, you know what we need to do? We need to make the player stand here for 4 minutes listening to a tape recorder. I don't know why they're like a weird Southern caricature or whatever. I don't know why it's Jeff Foxworthy in this thing, but like, I don't understand why a developer would think, oh, this is a good idea. We're going to make it so that you have to stand here and listen to this story, that you can't do anything. You must stand here and listen to it. And if you get too far away, then you can't hear it anymore. Right. Or like Hellblade did that. And I was really interested in listening to the Norse mythology that they were doing. But I didn't want to stand in one place. I wanted to keep playing the game while I heard it. And I think that audio logs are an incredible way to get story across to the player because, let's say in Destiny 1, let's go back to Destiny 1, and if they wanted to talk about some of that backstory about who are the Vex and where they come and blah, 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 and yibbity-bop and zibbity-boo, and if the Ghost was like doing a playback of like lore, like they do in Diablo 3, you know, when you pick up the lore and the guy's like, oh, back and blah, blah, blah. But, like, let me continue playing the bang, bang, shoot 'em up game and then listen to your thing like a podcast, like while I'm doing it. That's a perfectly great way to get lore across to a character without them doing it. But if I got to stand by the fucking answering machine or the codex or recorder or whatever, I hate it. Yeah.
I don't mind it so much.
Oh. Likewise, I was going to say... speaking of all the rest of that stuff, put your story in your video game. Put your story in your fucking video game. That's a trope I'll do away with. Extended fiction. I know you and I have already had a larger conversation about this, but if you want me to care about it, I feel like it needs to be in your video game. And if it's not in your video game, then it doesn't fucking count, in my opinion. And so if it makes you appreciate the story better, I feel like you should put it in your goddamn video game, or at least allude to it, or at least talk about it. I missed a news story this week.
Oh yeah.
The Bloodstained like retro game.
Yeah.
But that was announced last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it comes out soon.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. What's it called?
It's like I don't remember.
Oh shit. So hey, sorry. Curse of the Moon.
Yeah.
Okay. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon was announced, and this is like a. Kind of a throwback, like original NES style, kind of Castlevania looking game. It looks really, really Castlevania-y.
Yeah, it looks like Castlevania, like 1.
Yeah, and it's got 4 different characters. It's got a kind of a whip character, and then Miriam, who I think is the character from the new Bloodstained.
Well, I think all these characters are in the full Bloodstained game as well.
Oh, okay. Alfred, who's like a wizard, and then who's the last one? It's like another. Gebel, who is like a vampire.
He's basically the Alucard.
Yeah. So it looks a lot like kind of a loving tribute to Castlevania 3, and this game looks fucking amazing. It looks really fantastic. I can't believe that this didn't come out.
If I'm not mistaken, it says at the very end of the little trailer you're looking at somewhere about when it's coming out.
Let's see. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, May 24th. Okay, so in Would it be? This was going to come out in 3 days.
Also comes out on the Switch.
Yep. PS4, 3DS, Vita, Xbox One, Steam, and Switch. Looks great. Looks absolutely great. I can't wait for this. Can't wait for Bloodstained either. Do we know? Does that have like a release date yet for this year? Is it this year or is it next year?
I don't think it does.
Okay. In any case, this looks great. This looks totally kind of like Shovel Knighty almost. Kind of old NES style graphics. Why did they? Do you know why they did this?
I think it was because, like,
was it one of their stretch goals?
I don't know if it was a stretch goal or anything like that. I think it was something that some people had the idea to work on, and they basically went, well, it's going to take a little time for Bloodstained to actually come out, so let's release this to kind of satiate people for a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I could be entirely wrong about that. It could have been a stretch goal for all I know.
Okay. Well, then, one last question, and we'll get the fudge out of here. This one might not have an answer for this one, John, but
okay.
I don't know. Kate Josie writes in and says, Dear Raging Chefs, what have you been cooking recently? Anything special, anything cool? John can answer, too, if they have. It's short email, but school's kept me busy this week, from Kate. So
I ain't cooked a damn thing.
You ain't cooked a damn thing? You know what I had for dinner last night? My brake lights. No, I didn't eat brake lights for dinner. My car has a tiny piece of plastic that rotted out where it's on my brake pedal that keeps my brake pedal from touching a thing. And when the brake pedal touches a thing, my brake lights literally never turn off. So at this point, I have a piece of tape keeping my brake lights from always being turned on. And then I couldn't leave the house last night, so I went to the refrigerator and I was like, what do we got? And it was like, nothing. But there was a bag of Brussels sprouts. There was some old bacon. What I got? White rice over here. That's what I made for dinner. Made some white rice, put some soy sauce on it, and then I oven roasted a bunch of Brussels sprouts and bacon and threw it on top and mixed it all together and had Brussels sprouts, bacon, and rice. It was not half bad. There is a taste I feel like you get from when you're just doing some bullshit cooking. This definitely tasted like some bullshit cooking. Like you're just mixing a bunch of ingredients together and it tastes all right. But I did make a stew last week that was pretty good. There's an Instant Pot stew that I really like where you put tomato juice and tapioca balls in it. And it's absolutely delicious. Is to get the stew meat from the store and throw it in, some onions and some celery and some carrots and half a cup of tomato juice and 2 teaspoons of tapioca balls and some salt and pepper. Bam, done.
I had queso yesterday.
Yeah? For what?
Dinner.
What else? Did you just drink queso?
Yeah, it was like queso and chips.
Oh, okay. Well, you had chips.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining like a mug of hot queso. You're just sitting there.
I've done that.
Really? Just cheese?
In my younger days, I've done that.
I feel like you're my cheese nemesis over here.
Yeah.
I barely even use cheese as much anymore. Grilled some steaks and some chickens and some sausages and some boudin a few weeks back. That was pretty good. I haven't made anything super fancy. I've actually been thinking about that. I've been getting a little lazy and complacent because the Instant Pot is a fast cooker or a simple cook solution. And then grilling is an easy way to cook and then just be like, woohoo, this tastes real good. So I think that I'm going to embark on an adventure by the name of broccoli with beef. I'm going to try to make a variety of different broccoli with beef recipes. But I want to get a ricer and make cauliflower rice instead of regular rice to keep them carbs down. But, yeah, not a whole lot. So that's it, Kate. No, nothing supremely fantastic. And that is it for the Rage Select Podcast.
All right.
Yep. Welcome back, John.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Get your questions into mail@rageselect.com. Remember, we need your questions in order to answer them on the show. So if you don't send them in, then we don't have anything to answer. And then John and I just talk about queso, which, I don't know, maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want like 4 hours of, say, welcome back to Queso Talk, right here on Rage Select.
Yeah.
We've got 5 quesos this week. We're going to try them all.